Dear delegates, you are welcome.
Welcome everybody, ladies and gentlemen, to our ONU assembly. Today from the school Colegio Nuevo Gimnasio Nuevo Santos Bilingüe, presented our new delegates. We have different nations from different continents, and we're gonna speak again about the peace in the world.
Okay, estimate delegates, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Distinguished delegates, advisors, and guests, on behalf of the organized committee, is a distinct privilege to welcome you to all the United Nations Model Conference 2026. We are gathered here not simply to debate, but to listen, to understand, and build the solutions together. Your presence represents our country's countless perspectives and one shared commit to diplomacy. Delegates, let us begin the session with the purpose, respect, and collaboration. Welcome to the United Nations model. This is the first time here, and don't worry, everybody make a mistake. It's it's a simple exercise, a simple social exercise. Okay, calm down and let's get started. And now let's get started with the England intervention.
Thank you. Dear delegates, you are welcome to the ONU Council. We are Manuela Parada Pinilla and Jerónimo Cardona, 8th grade. And we are the delegates representing England in this council. And here goes our intervention.
England cultural contributions, geography and economic position, the United Kingdom believes that culture is a powerful tool for promoting peace and cooperation and sustainable development. English has become one of the world's principal languages for diplomacy, international trade, science, education, and technology, facilitating communication between nations.
The United Kingdom has made significant contribution to world culture through its literature, music, education, and scientific achievements. Authors such as William Shakespeare, Jane Austen, and Charles Dickens have influenced global literature, while British music and art continue to shape international culture and history and develop bases for words or future generations.
In the geography part, England is the largest country in the United Kingdom. It is located in the south of Great Britain and borders Scotland and Wales. It is surrounded by the North Sea, the English Channel, the Irish Sea, and the Celtic Sea. England has mostly flat land and rolling hills, with famous areas like the Penny Hills and Rolling Hills, with famous areas like the Penny Hills and the Lake District. The River Thames, which flows through London, is its most famous river. England has a mild and rainy climate, which is good for farming. Its geography, again, has helped it develop strong trade, agriculture, and important cities. And England has about 57 million people. Meanwhile, England keeps being one of the principal parts of global economy and international trade, keeping up being competition for big economic contributors such as the United States, hosting the European economy and the England National Bank, also being the most important country in economics and global trading in the United Kingdom.
We also do our colonies and political position. We have got different trade treatments. For that reason, we make big part of exportation, trade, politics, and commerce. This make us an essential part of the world decisions and a supporter of other countries that need commerce and trading, providing them launching up their economy and exportation. That was our intervention. Thank you for your listening. We may continue.
Thank you so much, delegates from England. We're going to continue with French. With friends. Thank you so much.
Good morning, dear President and distinguished delegations. The French Republic, represented by the Secretary Valentina and me, the delegate Elden, extends its greetings and thanks you for the opportunity to participate in this United Nations session, where we'll discuss some of delegations' sectors and the perspective on the conflicts with the aim of seeking an appropriate solution. In the economic sector, France has a strong diversified economy that is aligned with sustainable development goals. We play an active role in global security, and our production model demonstrates that technological development and decarbonization are complementary objectives. This is evident in a cutting edge aerospace and innovation industry, as well as in a sovereign energy mix underpinned by nuclear power and renewable resources, which ensures low carbonization emissions. Finally, we view our leadership in the high value service sector and global trends, not only as drivers of economic growth, but also as essential platforms for sustainable employment. As we can see from the slide, the economic dominated by the services sector, which accounts for almost 78.8% of gross domestic product (GDP), whilst the industrial sector contributes around 19.5%, and the primary sector 1.7%.
Talking about the sociocultural sector, the country actively promotes gender equality and multicultural integration. As such, the state takes on the role of breaking down barriers so that every citizen can play an active part in the country's cultural life by funding social projects at both local and international levels, whilst adapting budgets to democratic needs, as well being symbols of national identity. Sorry. Historic monuments, haute couture, and gastronomy are key drivers of the French economy and diplomacy. Furthermore, public policies aim to bring high culture closer to the public and to encourage the expression of diverse regional subcultures through reduced admission fees, the preservation of urban culture, and regional languages. This even includes proving a grant of young people to cover the cost of books, cinema tickets, musical instruments, or art courses.
In the natural sector of France, boasts a diverse natural heritage that defines its economic and ecological identity. Its agricultural wealth, particularly in the northern and western plains, makes it the EU's leading agricultural producer, underpinning its winemaking and gastronomic traditions. Furthermore, its extensive forest covers, centered on regions such as the Lades, acts as a vital green lung in the fight against climate change. Its geographical location also offers advantage in terms of water and energy, with major rivers and coastlines that benefits water, supply, and tourism, as well as the use of renewable energy. In short, France's natural resources are essential for sustainable development that seeks to balance progress with care for the environment.
Now we want to introduce you with our problems. First of all, the economic ones. The French government's economy is facing a serious fiscal and structural crisis and is subject to the European Union's excessive deficit procedure. It is characterized by a soaring public deficit and public debt, exceeding 150% of GDP. Despite the efforts to cut spending, these measures are often minimal or merely symbolic due to social pressure, leading government to frequently resort to higher taxes to balance the books, thereby affecting growth and business competitiveness. This political uncertainty is holding back foreign investment, paralyzing structural decision making, and undermining consumer and business confidence, thereby creating instability. The French delegation recognizes that the slowdown in growth is a global symptom of the resulting energy crisis. Furthermore, France's public investment is not a superfluous expense. Rather, it is intended to ensure that the ecological transition has the state's financial backing and in turn guarantees basic human rights and optimal levels. Talking about the sociocultural problems, France faces complex structural challenge due to the political division in parliament, tension related to the integration of immigrants and high levels of social spending.
that place a stain of public finances. These problems can be summarized as follows. The needs of integration and social cohesion is the face of cultural diversity. Political polarization that hinders governance and tiger strikers. Inequality and poverty despite a robust welfare system and pressure of the social model caused by an engine population and economy stagnation will force the base of balance the deficit and protecting acquired rights. We also have natural problems like the impact of the ecosystem is devastating. Eh, Also, like the climate change are most of the serious problems that we are facing nowadays. Thank you.
Thank you so much, French delegation. So please, we're going to continue with the United States delegation.
Honorable Chair, distinguished delegates, and fellow representatives. The nation of the United States of America is honored to address this assembly today. Our nation is often not described not only as a country, but as a meeting place of cultures, languages, traditions, and ideas. From the Atlantic coast to the Pacific coast, the United States have been shaped by people from every part of the world, and this diversity has become one of our greatest strengths. American culture is difficult to describe in a single sentence because it is constantly evolving. The United States includes influence from Latin American communities, African American traditions, European heritage, Latin American cultures, and many Asian and Middle Eastern communities. Together, these influences have created society that values creativity, individual expression, and freedom of opportunity. One of our most visible examples of American culture is its contribution to music. Genres such as jazz, blues, rock, hip hop, country, and pop originated or developed significantly in the United States and are now enjoyed around the world. Artists from cities such as New Orleans, Chicago, Nashville, and New York City have influenced global culture for generations. American cinema has also played an important role in international communication. The film industry centered in Hollywood reaches audiences across nearly every continent. Movies and television programs often introduce people to American values such as perseverance, innovation, equality before the law, and the belief that individuals can improve their circumstances through hard work and education. Sports are another major part of American cultural life. Millions of citizens follow basketball, American football, baseball, soccer, and athletics. Events such as the Super Bowl and the Olympic Games bring communities together and encourage national pride while promoting international friendship and competition. Education also remains a central cultural value. American universities attract students from around the world because they encourage research, debate, and the exchange of ideas. Institutions such as Harvard University, Stanford University, and Massachusetts Institute of Technology have contributed to scientific discoveries, medical advances, and technology innovation that benefits global community. However, the United States recognizes that cultural diversity also requires responsibility. A nation of many backgrounds must continue toward inclusion, equal opportunity, and mutual respect. Americans do not always agree on every issue, but the ability to debate openly and peacefully it is itself important part of our democratic tradition. Our culture, therefore, not defined by a single ethnicity, religion, or language. Instead, is defined by shared commitment to freedom, participation, and the possibility of progress. These principles continue to inspire millions of people who contribute to our community every day. The delegation now yields the floor to the second. Okay. Economy. The economy of the United States of America is one of our largest and most influential in the world. It is built of innovation, entrepreneurship, trade, agriculture, manufacturing, and services. American workers, business, researchers, and farmers contribute to the dynamic economy that affects global markets every day. One reason for this economic strength is the country's capacity of foreign innovation. Technology companies, scientific laboratories, and universities work together to develop new products and ideas. Advances in computing, artificial intelligence, medicine, renewable energy, and space exploration have created millions of jobs while improving quality of life for people both inside and outside the United States. Small business also play a vital role, while large corporations often receive international attention. Millions of American families operate local restaurants, stores, repairing shops, and service companies. These businesses create employment, strengthen communities, and provide opportunities for future entrepreneurs. Agriculture remains another important sector of the American economy. Farmers across states such as Iowa, Kansas, Nebraska, and California produce grain, fruits, vegetables, and livestock that helps feed domestic and international populations. Modern technology has increased productivity while encouraging more sustainable and farming practices. International trade is equally essential. The United States work with partners throughout the Americas, Europe, Asia, Africa, and Middle East. By exchanging goods, services, and investment, nations can create jobs and increase prosperity for the citizens. The American delegation believes that fair and open trade combined with strong labor and environmental standards can support long-term economic growth. Nevertheless, economic success also brings challenges. The United States continue working to reduce poverty, expand access to affordable healthcare, improve infrastructure, and prepare workers for a rapidly growth is most meaningful when it's reach as many people as possible. In recent years, investment in clean energy, transportation, scientific research, and workforce training have aimed to strengthen communities' resilience and create opportunities for future generations. The United States believes that innovation and sustainability can work together, rather that rather than stand in position to one another. Most importantly, the American economy is connected to global economy. A challenge in one region can affect business and families across the world. For that reason, international cooperation remains essential. Whether addressing climate change, public health, food security, and technological development, no nation succeeds alone. Honorable delegates, the culture and economy of the United States are closely connected. A diverse society encourages new ideas and new ideas to create economic opportunities. From music and education to technology and agriculture, the American experience demonstrates that how people from many different backgrounds can contribute to a common future. The delegation of the United States stands ready to cooperate with all member states in pursuit of prosperity, cultural exchange, peace, and sustainable development. We believe that nations are strongest when they learn from another one and work together to solve shared challenges. Thank you, Honorable Chair. The delegation of the United States of America yields the floor. United States of America position.
Thank you so much, United States delegate. Now we're going to continue with the Germany delegates. Go ahead.
Honorable President, esteemed fellow delegates, and distinguished member of the Assembly, good morning. My name is Diego Alejandro Pinzón Bustos, and my esteemed partner delegate is Juan José Betancor Peña. The delegation of the Federal Republic of Germany extends its greetings to the chair and to all delegations present today. As we convene is in this international forum, Germany stands firm in its commitment to the Charter of the United Nations, the rule of international law, and the universal protection of human rights. In a era marked by complex global challenges, violent conflicts, and acute humanitarian crises. From Eastern Europe to the Middle East, our nation reaffirms that multilateral diplomacy remains our most vital tool for peace. Okay, the history. Germany's foreign policy rests on two historical pillars: an absolute moral commitment to Israel security, starting following the Holocaust, and a former belief that trade with Russia ensures European peace, one that Dutch handle. While this commitment to Israel remains firm, the 2022 invasion of Ukraine permanently short Berlin's economy doctrine with Moscow. Geopolitics and defense. The war in Ukraine triggered the south wind, a total shift from post-war pacifism to multilateral leadership. Germany established a 100 billion defense fund and became Ukraine's top European military donor. In the Middle East, Germany balanced backing Israel's self-defense with pressing for Gaza humanitarian relief, a two-state solution, and regional stability. Thanks for your attention, and I will continue with my esteemed partner, Delegate Juan José Betancourt Peña.
Thank you, Diego. I'm going to talk about economy and the energy of Germany. Losing cheap Russian gas forced Germany into a rapid, costly transition to liquefied natural gas (LNG) and renewable energy. While this secured a strategic energy independence, higher energy costs continue to strain its industrial base, raise manufacturing expenses, and slow domestic economic growth. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Germany delegate. Now we're going to see a little context about the conflict we're going to talk about today. So we're going to watch the video right now.
Israel says it's at war after Palestinian militants launched a major terror attack. At the centre of this conflict is Israel's military occupation of one Palestinian territory, the West Bank, and its blockade of the other, the Gaza Strip. To understand what's happening, it helps to go back to World War I, when Britain took control of the region. The land at the time had an Arab majority and a Jewish minority. An Arab rebellion and ongoing Jewish migration was followed by the Holocaust targeting Jews in World War II, and a big increase in Jewish migration. In 1947, the United Nations, with Australia being a key driver, agreed that what had been known as the British Mandate for Palestine would be divided into a Jewish state and an Arab state. The Jewish side accepted this, hence the State of Israel was formed. But the Arab side rejected it, sparking a one-year war as Britain withdrew. But as the years went on, Israel took more land than had been agreed by the UN. Palestinians call this the Nakba, or catastrophe, as hundreds of thousands of Palestinians fled. At the end of the war, Israel controlled all the land in blue, except for Gaza here, which Egypt controlled, the West Bank, which was controlled by Jordan, and the Golan Heights, controlled by Syria. In 1967, in what's known as the Six-Day War, Israel seizes the West Bank, the Gaza Strip, and the Golan Heights. Israel then went on to occupy thousands of kilometres of Palestinian territory, which the UN says is illegal. This is what we now refer to as the occupied territories. Despite objections from the international community, Israeli civilians choose to live in the areas for political and religious reasons or for cheap homes. Here's where a lot of conflict happens, as Palestinians are displaced.
We are protesting and demonstrating against harassment.
In 2005, Israel withdrew from the Gaza Strip, a small coastal territory home to 2.3 million people, one of the most densely populated places in the world. Israel controls the airspace and the sea, and it controls the crossings used to ship most of the goods in and out. The crossing into Egypt is mainly used by people. Conditions for Gazans under the blockade are tough, with an unemployment rate of 50%, as well as deteriorating health systems and infrastructure. The group Hamas was formed in the late 1980s as frustrations grew. Hamas's goal is dedicated to Israel's destruction, and it's been designated a terrorist group by many countries, including Australia. Hamas, which has a militant wing and a political arm, won democratic elections in 2006, but wouldn't renounce violence against Israel and was isolated by the international community. It seized control of Gaza a year later. And while Israel withdrew from Gaza, it continues to occupy the West Bank. This means the Israeli army is the ultimate authority in the West Bank. The 3 million Palestinians there and the 2.3 million in Gaza do not want an Israeli occupation or a blockade. Another point of contention is Jerusalem. It's home to holy sites from 3 major religions: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Clashes in the region often escalate around major religious holidays, like the Jewish holiday of Yom Kippur or Ramadan. This is a region that's faced tension for years, but these attacks show things could escalate even further.
Okay. Keep going with the first round or introduction round. And now the delegate of Israel is recognized for this table. Thank you, Israel.
Okay, good morning, honorable delegates. Today we address the culture of Israel, a society shaped by a deep history and made by ancestral traditions. This culture reflects a strong sense of identity, where Hebrew language is used as a unifying symbol, and religion is very important in defining national and social life. Israeli culture is deeply influenced by the fact that religion affects daily routine, especially through practices such as the Shabbat, which structures weekly life. At the same time, their technology stands out globally, showing a balance between tradition and modern innovation. Education is very taken into account, reinforcing values of knowledge, development, and resilience within society. However, this culture also faces significant challenges like the ongoing Palestine conflict that continues to affect social stability and cultural development. In addition, there are religious group differences that create internal divisions, along with socioeconomic inequality that impacts equal opportunities, tensions with the military service, political disagreements, constant security concerns, and the high life cost to further complicate daily life. Now I continue with my partner Hako.
First and foremost, this assembly must understand the scale of the economic burden that Israel has been forced to shoulder since the outbreak of hostilities. This is not merely a matter of fiscal statistics, it is the story of a nation that has had to restructure its entire economic priorities virtually overnight, redirecting resources from growth and development towards survival and security. To begin with, Israel's defense spending has risen to approximately 10% of GDP, a level not seen since our earliest years as a state. More specifically, we are allocating over $27 billion annually to military operations, aerial defense, personal mobilizations, systems such as the Iron Dome, David's Link, and the maintenance of an unprecedented reserve force exceeding 360,000 soldiers. In addition to this, the cost of replenishing munitions, repairing damaged infrastructure, and developing new defensive technologies have placed extraordinary strain on our national budget. Beyond defense expenditures, Israel has committed substantial resources to humanitarian assistance, both for our own displaced citizens and, notably, for the civilian populations in conflict zones. Contrary to the narrative promoted by some delegations, Israel has invested hundreds of millions of dollars in facilitating humanitarian corridors, coordinating with international organizations, and supplying water, food, and medical aid. Furthermore, the Israeli government has absorbed over 200,000 internally displaced citizens from the northern and southern borders, financing temporary housing, schooling, psychological support, and livelihood assistance. Moreover, the economic ripple effects extend well beyond war-related costs. Our tourism industry, which historically contributed over $7 billion annually to the national economy, has suffered a collapse of more than 80%. Tel Aviv's Ben Gurion Airport, one of the busiest of all the Middle East, saw international arrivals plummet by nearly 75% in the first year of conflict. A consequence, tens of thousands of workers in hospitality, transportations, and retail have lost their livelihoods, creating secondary social pressures that require additional government intervention. In parallel, foreign direct investment, a cornerstone of Israel's tech-driven growth model, has declined by an estimated 60% as global markets respond to regional uncertainty. Despite all of this, I stand before you not to ask for sympathy, but to provide context. Nevertheless, the Israeli economy has demonstrated a remarkable capacity for resilience. Our entrepreneurs continue to innovate. In spite of the weight of war, Israel remains committed to long-term fiscal recovery because we know that a strong economy is also a pillar of lasting peace. That will be our first intervention. Thank you for.
Thank you, distinguished delegates from Israel. It's okay. Thank you. Now, the floor is open for a delegate of Iran. Thank you.
Thank you.
The table is yours.
Honorable Chair, distinct delegates, good morning. My name is Julieta. Together with my co-delegate, we have the honor of representing the Islamic Republic of Iran in this committee. Before we move into the topics of our agenda, we would like to briefly introduce our country. Iran was known as Persia. It's a nation with more than 7,000 years of history, and its culture remains one of the richest in the world. From Persian poetry and art to its food and old tradition, Iran continues to be a key part of Middle Eastern identity. Iran also holds a very important position on the map, close to the Persian Gulf and the Caspian Sea, which makes it a major player in regional space, energy, and world diplomacy. When we look at the economy, Iran has some of the largest oil and gas reserves on Earth. However, because of these ongoing sanctions from other countries, Iran had to grow other parts of its economy, such as farming, chemical production, and new technology. For this reason, Iran comes to this committee not only to defend its own interest, but also to bring fair and realistic ideas to the topics we will debate. At this time, I would like to give the floor to my co-delegate, who will continue with the rest of our introduction. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair and fellow delegates. As my colleague said, my name is Maria Jose, and I was really honored to represent Iran in this committee today. Now, moving to the political side, Iran has a system of government that mixes elected leaders with religious guidance, and this shapes both its home policies and its relation with other countries. Because of this, Iran's choices in world forums are often based on ideas like independence, national pride, and right to make its own decisions without outside pressure. In addition, Iran stays very active in matters close to home, especially when it comes to safety, energy policy, and working together with neighbor nations. So our team comes ready to take part to hear different points of view and to work with other delegates to fair answers that respect world rules while also protecting what matters most to our country. To close, we truly look forward to a respectful and useful debate with every delegation in this room today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, distinguished delegates from Iran. Excuse me. Now, the chair recognizes the delegate of Syria. Syria. The table is yours.
Honorable Chair, distinguished delegates, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. We are Luciana Garcia and Giselle Bello. We are honored to represent the Syrian Arab Republic in this Model United Nations Conference. Today, we will present a brief overview of Syria by exploring its geography, history, culture, political system, and economy. We hope this presentation provides a better understanding of our country. Let's begin with Syria's geography. Geography. Syria is located in Western Asia, at the heart of the Middle East. It shares borders with Turkey, Iraq, Jordan, Lebanon, and Israel, and has a coastline along the Mediterranean Sea. Its landscape includes mountains, fertile plains, and coastal regions. One of its most important rivers is the Euphrates, which has supported agriculture and settlements for thousands of years. Because of its strategic location, Syria has a long connected Asia, Europe, and Africa, making it an important crossroads for trade and cultural exchange. To understand Syria today, it's important to know its history.
Thank you. Syria is one of the oldest inhabited regions in the world. Throughout history, it has been home to many civilizations, including the Arameans, Greeks, Romans, Its capital, Damascus, is widely recognized as one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in the world. After the end of French mandate, Syria gained its independence on April 17, 1946. This long history continues to shape Syria's identity today. Now, let's explore one of Syria's greatest strengths, its culture.
Thank you. Syria culture reflects thousands of years of history and the influence of many civilizations. This can be seen in its architecture, traditions, music, literature, and cuisine. Arabic is the official language, and in hospitality is one of the country's most valued traditions. Syria is also home to several UNESCO World Heritage Sites, including the ancient city of Damascus, the ancient city of Aleppo, and the Crac des Chevaliers. Its traditional cuisine with dishes such as kibbeh, hummus, shawarma, and baklava is recognized around the world. To complete our overview, my fellow delegate will present Syria's political system and economy.
Syria is officially known as the Syrian Arab Republic. It has a presidential system of government, with the president serving as head of state. The country participates in international organizations, including the United Nations, where it works with other nations on matters of international concern. The Syrian economy has traditionally been based on agriculture, industry, trade, and energy production. Its main agricultural products include wheat, cotton, olives, fruits, and vegetables. In recent years, Syria has faced significant economic challenges. Despite these difficulties, reconstruction and sustainable development remain important national priorities.
In conclusion, Syria is a country with a remarkable history, a rich cultural heritage, and a strategic location that has connected civilizations for thousands of years. Learning about Syria means understanding not only its present, but also the history and traditions that have shaped the nation. Thank you for your attention.
It's okay. Thank you. Thank you for all delegates. This table, this meeting is a proposal now. Let's move into the proposals and point of view about the conflict, So the chair recognized the delegate of England.
Okay, the role of the United Kingdom in the Middle East conflict has been important and has changed over time. It hasn't had a single point of view, but rather an evolving position shaped by political, historical, and strategic interest. First, historical origins. In the 20th century, the United Kingdom played a key role from the beginning of the conflict, especially during the period of the British mandate in Palestine, since 1920 until 1948. During this time, it issued the Balfour Declaration supporting the creation of a national home for the Jewish people. At the same time, it had made promises to Arab populations, which created tensions from the start. Second, the relationship with Israel. Today, the United Kingdom recognizes and maintains diplomatic relations with Israel. It supports Israel's right to exist and defend itself. However, it has also criticized actions such as the expansion of settlements in occupied territories and some action that it believes worsen the humanitarian situation in Gaza and expand settlements in the occupied West Bank. The UK has suspended negotiations on upgrading its trade agreement with Israel and has started that goods from agreement with Israel and from Israeli settlements in occupied territories do not receive preferential trade treatment.
Number three, support for Palestinians. The United Kingdom has also shown support for Palestinian rights. It supports a two-side solution, Israel and Palestine. It has produced humanitarian aid to Palestine. The UK encourages negotiations between Israelis and Palestinians and the best way to achieving lasting peace. Fourth point, current position in diplomatic balance. Generally, the United Kingdom tries to maintain a balanced stance. It supports a two-state solution. It condemns violence from both sides. It seeks stability in the region due to political and economic interests. In summary, the United Kingdom has shifted from being a direct actor in the origins of the conflict to acting as a mediator that tries to balance its support between Israel and Palestine. Although it is sometimes criticized for leaning more toward one side.
Taking all of foreign into account, our delegation has formulated proposal to address the current conflict in the Middle East. In developing this proposal, we have applied rigorous critical thinking to the situation, and each of the measures presented here was already being reviewed by the delegation. Proposal 1. Strengthening the protection of women and girls in conflict affect areas. Its objective is about to ensure the protection and promotion of the rights of women and girls throughout the ongoing conflict. The proposal. The United Kingdom proposed the establishment of a United Nations coordinate humanitarian protection mechanisms to create safe space for women and children. This initiative would provide access to health care, psychological support, temporary shelter, and protection against gender-based violence, while ensuring compliance with international humanitarian law. Rationale: women and girls are disproportionately affected by armed conflicts and often face increased risks of displacement, violence, and limit access to essential services. Protecting their rights is not only a humanitarian obligation, but also a crucial step toward promoting stability, resilience, and long-term peace. Thank you. That was our intervention.
Okay, thank you, estimate delegate from England. I loved your proposal about the women and the human rights. Thank you. Now we are going to hear the proposal for France. The chair recognized the delegate of France. Is your opportunity to write.
Thank you. We are facing an humanitarian and political crisis that requires a substantial response. As a representative of the French Republic, I wish to emphasize the urgent need for an immediate and lasting ceasefire in Gaza, as the ongoing violence stands in the way of any prospect of peace and exacerbates the conflict. France has stepped up its efforts to deliver food and medical aid, which is essential for combating child malnutrition in the Gaza Strip. Also, we emphasize that such assistance is not sufficient without the establishment of safe and unrestricted access. We reject military offensives that violate international humanitarian law and endanger civilian infrastructure. Furthermore, the current diplomatic tensions highlight the ineffectiveness of past containment strategies. The decisions taken by the French delegation, including the recognition of the State of Palestine, form part an effort to revive the two-state solution, a path that ensures both Israel's security and Palestine's sovereignty. France reaffirms its commitment to international law and multilateralism, announcing that we will monitor any violation on international law. We call on this forum to act with courage, moving towards building commitments that will put an end to the confrontation between parties, which leads to the proposals. In light of recent conflicts, the delegation called a treaty between Israel and Palestine, in which territorial boundaries based on the line prior to the Six-Day War will be established, granting Palestine sovereignty over the Gaza Strip and the West Bank. whilst allowing for mutually agreed land swaps. In addition, the city of Jerusalem will be shared so that it functions simultaneously as the capital of both states, guaranteeing free access to holy cities for Jews, Muslims, and Christians. With regard for the Palestinian refugees displaced in 1948, a fair, agreed, and definitive solution should be found, based on compensation or the right to return. Furthermore, Israeli settlements in the West Bank will be disarmed, as they are considered illegal under international law and insurmountable obstacle to the territorial continuity of Palestine. Thank you.
Thank you, to my delegates and friends. Now we're going to hear the United States delegates. Please, United States, the chair recognizes the delegate of the United States right now.
Honorable Chair, distinguished delegates, and fellow representatives. The delegation of the United States is honored to address this comment regarding one of the most urgent challenges facing our world today, the conflicts in the Middle East. The Middle East have experienced decades of war, terrorism, political instability, humanitarian crises, and regional tensions. Millions of innocent civilians have suffered the consequences of violence. Families have been displaced, cities have been destroyed, and generations of children have grown up knowing the conflicts instead of peace. The United States believes that lasting peace cannot be achieved through violence alone. Military action may sometimes be necessary for self-defense or protect civilians, but it cannot replace diplomacy, dialogue, and international cooperation. Our nation has long worked with partners throughout the Middle East to combat terrorism, support humanitarian assistance, and promote regional stability. We recognize that the importance of protecting innocent civilians while also respecting international law and the sovereignty of nations. One of the most difficult conflicts today is the conflict between Israel and Hamas. The United States strongly supports Israel's right to defend its citizens from terrorist attacks. At the same time, we also recognize that Palestinian civilians deserve safety, dignity, humanitarian aid, and the opportunity to live in peace. The United States condemns terrorism in all its forms. Organizations that intentionally target civilians cannot be accepted under international law. However, we also believe that military operation should make every possible effort to minimize civilian casualties and protect innocent lives. Beyond Gaza, the region faces many additional challenges: civil wars, armed militias, political instability, economic hardship, and foreign interference continue to fuel violence in countries such as Syria and Yemen. These conflicts demonstrate that military victories alone cannot create lasting peace. Instead, governments, regional organizations, and the international community must work together to address the root causes of conflict, including poverty, lack of opportunity, political instability, and extremist ideologies. The United States believes that peace requires patience, cooperation, and trust. Although disagreements remain, dialogue must never stop. Okay. Proposes. First, we support immediate humanitarian assistance for civilians affected by war. Food, clean water, medical supplies, electricity, and shelter must reach those in need quickly and safely. Humanitarian organizations should be allowed to operate without unnecessary obstacles while ensuring aid is not diverted by armed groups. Second, we encourage renewed diplomatic negotiations. History has shown that even the most difficult conflicts can move toward peace when leaders choose dialogue instead of violence. The United States supports a negotiation involving regional partners and the international community whenever possible. Third, we believe that combating terrorism remains essential. Terrorist organizations threaten civilians, governments, and international security. Nations should continue sharing intelligence, strengthening border security, and cooperating against terrorist financing while respecting human rights and international law. Fourth, economic development shall become a major priority. Stable economies create jobs, improve education, and reduce poverty. and and give young people opportunities beyond violence. If investment in infrastructure, schools, healthcare, and technology can help build stronger and more peaceful societies. Fifth, United States supports long-term regional cooperation. Neighboring countries must work together on issues such as water resources, trade, energy, and environmental protection. Cooperation builds trust and reduces the likelihood of future conflicts. The United States also believes education plays a critical role. Young people deserve classrooms instead of battlefields. The education promotes tolerance, critical thinking, and understanding between cultures and regions. Our delegation recognizes that peace cannot happen overnight. It requires compromise from all parts involved. Lasting peace demands courage, not only the courage to defend one nation, but also the courage to negotiate, forgive, and seek common ground. The United States remain committed to work within United Nations and all the member states to support peace, security, human rights, and humanitarian assistance throughout the Middle East. In closing, our delegation believes that every child deserves to grow up without fear of war. Every family deserves safety. Every nation deserves the opportunity to prosper peacefully. Conflict may divide us, but diplomacy have the power to unite us. The delegation of the United States stands ready to cooperate with every nation represented in this chamber to propose a safer, more stable, and a more peaceful Middle East. Thank you,
Oye, ese
Honorable
punto.
Chair, delegation of the United States, yields the
Pero
floor.
para hacerlo en el Taiwán. ¿Sí? Ah. Okay, thank you. Thank you, United States delegates. Now, the delegate of Germany is recognized in this table.
Okay, the conflict. Germany welcomed over a million Ukrainian refugees. But compound economic pressures and framed policy debates have heightened social tension. Discussion surrounding free speech, press rights, and anti-Semitism, alongside rising living costs, have fueled political polarization and boost populist political movements.
Thank you. Our point of view is that Palestine must combat all terrorist groups, because the war is mainly because of terrorist groups, and giving medical and food aid to all the affected citizens. First propose. We propose that the UN intervenes in Palestine and Israel war by combating terrorist group. That is the main problem of the world. The second propose is that we need to give medical and food aid to those citizens that are affected. And the third propose is that stop the bombs of Israel. This is because they are affecting all the families and avoid the violence if it's possible. And if they don't want to, then the UN intervene by quitting their weapons. Thank you.
Thank you so much, delegation of Germany. So we're going to continue with the Syria delegation.
Honorable Chair, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, the conflict in the Middle East is one of the most complex challenges facing the international community today. For Syria, this conflict has had a profound humanitarian, economic, and social consequence. Millions of civilians have been affected, infrastructure has been damaged, and the regional stability has increased. The Syrian Arab Republic believes that lasting peace cannot be achieved with through achieved through continued violence alone. Instead, it requires dialogue, diplomacy, and cooperation among all nations. To better understand Syria's position, my fellow delegate will present the key principles that guide our perspective.
The delegation of Syria emphasizes three fundamental principles. First, respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity of all nations. Second, the protection of civilians in accordance with international humanitarian law. Third, the importance of political dialogue as the best path toward a sustainable peace. Syria believes that lasting solutions should be based on cooperation rather than further escalation.
The Middle East continues to face several interconnected challenges. These include humanitarian crises, displacement of millions of people, terrorism, economic instability, and the destruction of essential infrastructure. Addressing only one of these issues is not enough. Lasting peace requires coordinated international efforts that respond to both immediate humanitarian needs and long term development.
The delegation of Syria proposed four many actions. First, increase humanitarian assistance through the United Nations to ensure that aid reaches civilians safely and efficiently. Second, encourage diplomatic negotiation involving regional and international actors to reduce tension and promote dialogue. Third, support reconstruction projects that improve access to healthcare, education, housing, and basic infrastructure. Finally, strengthen international cooperation to combat terrorism while respecting international law and the sovereignty of states.
Syria recognizes that organizations such as the United Nations play an essential role in promoting peace and humanitarian assistance. Regarding NATO, the delegation believes that any international involvement should be consistent with international law, coordinated through appropriate diplomatic channels, and respectful of sovereignty and territorial integrity of this state concerned. Only through cooperation, dialogue, and mutual respect can lasting regional stability be achieved.
In conclusion, the Syrian Arab Republic believes that peace cannot be built through confrontation alone. It requires diplomacy, humanitarian support, reconstruction, and cooperation among all members of international community. The delegation of Syria remains committed to reconstructive dialogue and to working toward a more stable and peaceful Middle East. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Syria delegation. We're going to continue with Iran delegation. So the table is yours.
Thank you. Honorable Chair, distinguished delegates, at this stage, we would like to turn to one of the most pressing issues on our agenda today, the ongoing crisis in the Middle East. As many of you know, the region has faced decades of conflict, political tension, and struggles over power and resources. These problems have caused deep suffering for millions of people, including loss of life, forced displacement, and broken economies across several nations. From the perspective of the Islamic Republic of Iran, much of this instability comes from foreign interference in the internal affairs of Middle Eastern countries. We believe that outside powers have too often pushed their own interests into the region, rather than allowing local nations to solve their own problems through dialogue and cooperation. In addition, we see that a lack of trust between neighboring states have made it very hard to build lasting peace, since all rivalries keep getting worse instead of better. Iran holds a firm position on this matter. We support the right of every nation in the region to control its own future, free from outside pressure or military threats. At the same time, we recognize that peace cannot be reached through one country alone. It must be from open talks between all parties involved based on mutual respect and equal voice at the table. I will now pass the floor to my co-delegate who will present our proposal on this matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Sha. Building on what my colleague said has shared, our delegation would like to present a clear set of proposals to help address this crisis. Our calls of an immediate and permanent ceasefire in order to stop the violence and protect the lives of innocent civilians caught in the middle of this conflict. Alongside this, we support full and unrestricted humanitarian aid, including food, medicine, and medical assistance for every civilian affected by the fighting, regardless of their side or background. At the same time, Iran firmly believes that all countries must respect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Middle Eastern nations without any foreign or military intervention. For this reason, we encourage peaceful dialogue and negotiation between all parties involved, carried out under the supervision of the United Nations, so that any agreement to reach the region. Building on this, we also propose greater cooperation among Middle Eastern countries in order to improve regional security and prevent future conflicts before they will even begin. We believe this set of proposals offers a realistic and balanced path forward, one built on respect, protection of human life, and the right of Middle East to shape its own future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, delegation from Iran. We're gonna finish this round with the intervention from the table of Israel. So the space is yours, guys.
Okay, thank you, honorable delegates. Now we want to address Israel's point of view. Israel's foreign policy focuses on security and cooperation. Strong ties with the US are central, while peace with Egypt and Jordan and normalization with the UAE and Bahrain mark regional progress. Despite conflicts, Israel seeks stability and dialogue in a complex environment. However, we'll be keen into defending our territory. This referring to France and Germany.
Turning now to Israel's position on the conflict itself, I wish to absolutely be clear from the outset: Israel does not seek war. On the contrary, for years we pursued diplomatic engagement, accepted ceasefire agreements, and transferred billions of dollars in economic aid to the Gaza Strip, only to watch that aid be diverted toward tunnels, rockets, and the infrastructure of terror. The October 7th attacks were not a spontaneous eruption. They were a carefully planned massacre that claimed the lives of 1,200 civilians and the adoption of over 250 hostages. Consequently, Israel exercised its inherent and undeniable right to self-defense under Article 51 of the United Nations Charter, the same right that every member of this assembly or in this hall will invoke without any hesitation if faced with a comparable attack on its own soil. Indeed, we ask every delegation from this assembly, what will your government do if over 1,000 of your civilians or citizens were slaughtered in a single morning? While we deeply acknowledge the suffering of Palestinian civilians, we must be equally clear about who bears moral responsibility for that suffering. Hamas, a designated terrorist organization, deliberately embeds its military command centers toward hospitals, schools, mosques, and residential buildings. Therefore, when civilian casualties occur, the legal and moral accountability lies squarely with those who weaponize civilians' presence as a shield. In contrast to what certain narratives suggest, Israel is not engaged in a war against the Palestinian people. Rather, we are engaged in a war against a terrorist organization that has held its own population hostage politically, economically, and physically for nearly 2 decades. Sorry. However, that future can be built while Hamas remains in power and continues to prioritize destruction over governance. With regard to the broader regional dimension, Israel is deeply concerned about the role of Iran in financing, arming, and directing proxy forces, from Hezbollah in the north and to the Houthis in Yemen. As a result of this axis of destabilization, the entire Middle East has been drawn into a spiral of insecurity that threatens not only Israel, but also our Arab neighbors and the international shipping lanes that sustain global trade. For this reason, we urge the international community to hold state sponsors of terrorists accountable, rather than directing all scrutiny at the nation defending itself.
Ultimately, Israel, a peace honor in security guarantees the unconditional return of all remaining hostages, the full displacement of homes, military capacity, and credible political horton for Palestinian civilians that doesn't include terrorist governance. To the end, we remained open to dialogue, to international frameworks, and to any genuine partner willing to build rather than to destroy. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you so much for the intervention. So, to finish this assembly, we're gonna make two questions. And we're gonna choose which delegation is going to make the question to another country. So, for example, if United States is elected, he is going to make the question to another country, okay? So just read your question, 30 seconds. Okay, the intervention is gonna be from the countries France and Israel. So you both can make just one question to another delegation, okay? Okay. John. So, to continue with the program, delegates from France, please make the question. Who is the country you're going to choose? The question is for which country?
The question is from the United States. As we say, that what justificates you of the attacks you're making to the different countries? What what justifies you from the attacks of the different countries? Why you're attacking?
Um, it's because it's for secure the nations. No, marica. ¿Qué? Mm, em, no, marica. No quiero. No, más. No sé. Ahora. For defend the democracy of the countries and the liberty and promote the peace. For what? And holding the terrorist attacks.
Thank you so much, United States delegation. So we're going to continue with the Israel question. So tell us, guys, who is going to be the country you're going to ask for?
Okay. This question is referred to Iran country. I want to ask you if are you concerned about the role you're playing when financing the terrorist group of Hamas?
The delegation of Iran rejects attacks against civilians. We believe that lasting peace requires addressing the root causes for the conflict through diplomacy, respect for international law, and the protection of innocent people. We believe that peace is the best option to dialogue with other countries.
And so now I'll ask you, how do you justify your actions in Palestine when they have led to large-scale civilian displacement and suffering? How do you justify your actions in Palestine when they have led large-scale civilian displacement and suffering?
Well, we are concerned about all the military things that we have done ultimately on Palestinian and Hamas, but you have also be concerned about the 7th October attacks of 2023. I've also already told you about the massacres and maybe all the violence that was how can I say it, that was caused by those attacks. We are just defending ourselves. I've already invocated the Article 51, and also I would like to say that was not the question that we asked you. The question we asked you was, are you concerned about you are financing Hamas terrorism? Are you concerned about that?
Yeah, we are concerned about that, but we know that Aaron has like a lot of things that what could be like in our like I don't know how to say that, like in la contra, like in attack against. Yes, thank you, Colgate. So yeah, we're counter that, but also we think that I said before that the peace is the most like best option to like promote peace, like dialogue. So we know that, and we are concerned of our terrorists, but we think that like in the Middle East it's not too influential. That like I think that the principal view is that between Palestine and Israel, I think.
Thank you so much, delegation. So to finish with this assemble, we're gonna make some reflection after all. So remember that all these spaces are made to build the peace in the world. We have to continue with this hard task because, as you know, in each country has different problems, and we cannot ignore any of them. So thank you so much. I want to applaud you, everybody. We can see you the next year with another assemble. So thank you so much for the assistance. Bye bye.